There are 1.3 billion people across the globe and 800 million out of those in Asia who don't have access to electricity. And that has a huge development impact. It has, many ramifications. Kids can't study, you can't run a business, you have only so many hours of daylight in which you can be productive. So I think access to energy is something that we need to look into. Each country that has come out with the renewable energy policies, for different reasons, they've had to backtrack from those policies or from the feed-in tariff levels. In certain cases, the technology changes or the cost reduction, for example, in solar panels, has made governments wonder whether they should have targeted the feed-in tariffs at a much lower level. And given those kind of uncertainties, coming with the sort of traditional financing model, those are risks which tend to be, one, uncertain, and two, difficult to quantify upfront. And there's therefore a natural aversion for financiers to come into these sectors. Our belief, which actually has turned out to be correct, is that the solar panel prices would come down. So just to give you an example, the first project we funded was around $4 million per megawatt, and the most recent project we funded is at around 1.7 million in a matter of 3 years. And so we see that as a trend, not just in terms of the panel costs, but as the scale increases, the balance of plant and the other sort of related costs would come down, and that would make solar, I would say, closer to grid parity. So the fundamental sort of policy uncertainty makes us, as an institution, look at a couple of things very carefully. One, we pick our sponsors carefully. These are people who are committed to renewable energy, who have a long-term vision that matches our long-term approach. Second, we look within a certain fuel source, the most cost-competitive projects. And the rationale for that is that there is a huge demand-supply gap in India, and as long as the power source is competitive within its kind, I think that's an insurance against being vulnerable to subsidies, etc. The third, I would say, is really to structure projects. Not too aggressively, so we have deal acceptance criteria that we follow quite carefully.